And for the last two poems that I'm going to read, I'm actually going to move on a little in my writing. You see, poetry books take such a long time to be published that by the time one actually gets to read from them, one has almost certainly gone on to do something slightly different. So this first poem that I'm going to read from well, actually I'm taking from a magazine, but I was in Brittany about this time last year, and I was sort of walking along the rather dramatic coasts of Finisterre, and there are occasionally these monuments to sort of wartime shipping. And on the way back, we stopped in at one of the small sort of Breton churches, and they had this sculpture of a man of sorrows, Christ, waiting to go up to the cross. And for some reason, I sort of drew them together to make a rather tense poem, but one that's rather fun to read, I think. So this is Man of Sorrows, Brittany, 1940. Fearful between two shores, one granite, pilgrim-shouldered, the other merciful, appointed, and hung with storms. Foundered at last, without searchlights, over the questing sea. Rock armors, rumors, the day's articles drove them from his thought. Clouds, light ladders, the scarce nails of flame, they pierced his logbook. The radio whittled his bones away. In the last, he was only a name, a lightness, a shadow of cloth, his ships a hall of rust, creasing the tide. And for the very, very last poem that I'm going to read, not that long ago I wrote a rather long poem, well, largely about, I think, science fiction and computers, but the sort of framework for it was a robot invasion of Earth, the sort of thing that science fiction authors thrive on. But I actually took the opportunity in a short piece of that to talk about something that one of my favourite writers, Philip K. Dick, mentions about how the only survivors, really, of nuclear war would actually be the very, very small creatures, things like cockroaches, and moving slightly up the food chain. And I call this the small animals. Forever and forever, the small animals. The landscape of lizards and toads, in the dry boughs of hills, cold as sunset settles on the stones. Forever and forever, the small towns, and the smaller kingdoms, the dominion of a 2-acre field, and the dust settling behind a wood plough, and the life in miniature, however hard, however far into the margins, breaking soil between hovels, the concrete hollows of the great aftermath which we must be living. Turing's invisible Manchester, the Dartmouth Conference, they under the long shadow of the bombs, the black and white people goofing into the lens, a semicircle of chairs and smiles. Then twilight for a quarter century to return as scene shifters for the drama, mainstream computing. Forever and forever, the bold tomorrows of yesterday, where Buck Rogers takes flight over desertscape, or the future of workaday velours and lycras, the home of the flying car, the ray gun, the home atomic power plant, and the sun of California's backlots, raining down on you, punter, forever. Forever and forever, the cockroaches, and the rats and rattlesnakes, the jackrabbit and the spider, the small embodiments of a wider mercy, which extends into the rapidly indexing now, as we strain to see the small worlds surface from the molecules of their birth forever. Thank you.